There goes a dialogue in the movie. There are some stories that are scary to listen. There are some stories that are scary to watch. And then there are some stories that are scary to even think about it. I'd say there are some movies that will engage and enthrall you while watching it. There are some movies that you'll remember even after watching. And then there are some movies that you'll want to watch again and again, still not satisfying your quench. It becomes the epitome in itself. Let's see which category will this film fall into and discuss it later. In KGF, the screenplay was given more importance than the story itself. It revolved around showcasing and elevating the heroism, giving goosebump moments throughout the movie. It's not an easy task to do that because heroism needs justification. The fights should have a very good emotional reason, and the action choreography should amaze us, and then with tight narrative should astonish us. The more all of this happens, the more the movie will make its way to our heart. Just imagine, with this kind of great hero elevation screenplay, you also have an amazing story. It's like adding brain to your brawn. It's like combining the mighty size and jaw strength of T-Rex with the smarts and speed of Velociraptor. Oh, we know how it looks like. It looks like the Indominus Rex. This cinema is where KGF meets Bahubali. I leave it to your imagination that the juggernaut this combo will become. I think it may be difficult for our masterclass director Rajamouli to match these heroic elevations that Prashanth Neel does. For example, in RRR, after that 2,000 people monstrous 2000 మంది for fight introduction of Ram Charan, all that the superior officer had to say was that he scares me more. And even when Ram Charan volunteers to capture Beam, all that the guy had to say while recommending for the job is that he can vouch for him. NTR's Beam had an heroic elevating scene with another character introducing Beam by trying to induce fear into the British. But even the most talked about interval episode that drove shiver down the spine of the British officers was hardly spoken about or talked to or even referred to again anytime in the movie. And you will notice that none of the other characters were ever scared of either Ram or Beam. Of course, that wasn't the part of the narrative style or possibly even needed for RRR, but I suppose you get my point. It's not that Rajamouli ain't capable of it, but it's just that it's not his natural narrative style. Prashanth Neel's style of heroic elevations of a hero is by having other characters fearing the hero at merely hearing about him or even thinking about him again and again. That fear isn't like normal kind of fear. Imagine of a fear where we have the villain who actually drives fear into other high-powered government officials and in whose able hands having a sniper rifle while focusing on the target happens to notice a tattoo on the hand, and the mere thought that it could be the hero makes him profusely sweat, sending shivers to his spine, reducing his capacity as a shooter that he gives up on his target to just run away in despair. That is the level of fear used for the extraordinary heroic elevations, along with some astonishing action choreography, all that coming together creating an arresting experience. He showed how if a dinosaur decides to enter the war will just be one-sided, a one-person demolition squad. All of this is an experience just by the interval itself. The second half is the start to an epic tale. When Prithviraj mentioned in his interviews that this movie has the same level of political drama as in Game of Thrones, I could reason that he might be saying all of this simply to hype up the film as part of the promotions. But boy, he was certainly correct. The complexity and the elaboration of Kansar world building was showcased in the movie. If Game of Thrones had one Dothraki tribe, all sects here are such tribes in Kansar. If Black Panther had a Wakanda as a cloaked country, Kansar is a hidden country that was wiped out of the global map so that no one knows if it is a myth or real. There was proper detailing of all the tribes, their way of life, their politics, governance structure, and their constitution, along with continuing the extraordinary heroism, elevating our overall watching experience. There is so much to say. How do I put it? Do you remember the breathtaking scene of the handcuffed Devasena in Balala Deva's courtroom in Bahubali? There is one such mind-blowing scene even in this movie. There is another intricate reveal in the climax along with Varadaraja Mannar also sharing the name he gave his friend Deva, all of which was very engaging action drama. Even after saying so much, what is left to say about Prashanth Neel? As I mentioned in my first trailer, song, release trailer review, simply put, Prashant Neel is as good as Rajamouli. There just can't be better praise for Prashant Neel. Shruti Hassan in a limited role performed decently. Her amazement in learning about the story and the curiosity to know more is transferred to us, piquing our curiosity as well to wait for the next part. Bobby Simha as Bharava played very important role. Anything more in talking about this role may reveal about the movie, and I would want you to experience everything while you watch the movie. Shriya Reddy also played a very important, critical and powerful role in the movie. Jagpati Babu and Ishwari had important and intense role which they performed decently. Just as in Game of Thrones, there are a lot of tribes, so it may be difficult to remember all of them, and there is no need to remember all of them as well. But all of them did their role to perfection except for one character which was so irritating, erratic and psychotic that will disgust you, but that role is also an important role. Now coming to Prithviraj Sukumaran, who essentially lived in the role of Varadaraja Mannar. He brought a certain level of dignity and power to that character despite not having a largely heroic role. More importantly, when sharing the screen with Prabhas, who has that towering screen presence, one might get easily overshadowed. But forget about getting overshadowed. He managed to make his own presence felt as an equal. Now coming to our main man Prabhas, we all know that he excels in action genre, as his cutout is made for such films. He looks really good in this movie. The way he was showcased was unprecedented, and he slipped into the skin of the role so easily. Even if the hero characterization was to be like a dinosaur, one has to believe it. The way Prabhas performed in the action episodes, it wasn't like Prabhas is as ferocious as a dinosaur. Rather, it was telling us that a dinosaur can be as ferocious as Prabhas. This role and his performance looked like it almost overshadowed Bahubali. Nothing can, but it came really close. At the start of my review, I said we will discuss about the category in which this film would fall. Do I need to say anything more after saying so much about the film? But still, let me say it. The film has gone beyond being an epitome. It has made itself a page in history. This is a must-watch cinema, and after watching once, even if we try to stop you, you will definitely want to watch at least once more. If you like the review, show your love by liking the video. Spread the love by sharing it with your friends, family, and bless us by subscribing to the channel so that we can keep meeting often. Thank you.